Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be amongst this gathering, young entrepreneurs, technologists who are going to shape the world with their knowledge of information technology and communication technology. Healthcare is one area which is lagging behind for many good reasons. And it will be my pleasure to share some of these. Is this not working? Hello? Technology. Which one? This one? All right. This is a thought that I wish to share with you. These words were uttered by Mrs. Indira Gandhi in 1966 when she became the Prime Minister of India. That healthy people must make a healthy nation, and health of the population therefore must form an integral part of public policy for social and economic development of the society. It is my profound privilege to be here this afternoon in the midst of a distinguished gathering of leaders in the information technology and to share my thoughts on a topical issue of transforming healthcare systems and services through the use of information technology and communication technology. It will be my endeavor to describe the unique character of healthcare industry and the impending challenge before the ICT industry to provide solutions that are robust, performing, scalable, and most significantly, adoptable by the health sector to manage financing, provision, and regulation of healthcare and enhance technical efficiency, clinical effectiveness, and the quality in delivery of care. I've used these words very selectively. And you must appreciate that these are fundamental requirements of any IT initiative relevant to healthcare. Healthcare spending in our country or anywhere in the world depends largely on national economy. However, the manner in which these funds are collected, allocated, and utilized, and the extent to which health services are developed, distributed, and accessed are influenced by public policy. There is a major role of the government to initiate public policy to incentivize investment in healthcare. Therefore, many progressive nations have used public policy initiatives to reform the health sector and incentivize financing and provision of healthcare. Sectoral reforms in healthcare have not been formally initiated in India. However, universal access to basic healthcare has remained a significant part of political agenda since independence. In this endeavor, public health measures for promotion of health, the prevention of disease and disability, and the universal access to primary health care, including maternal and child health, have remained the focus of public spending. The National Rural Health Mission, the Rashtriya Swasthya Bima Yojana, and now the National Urban Health Mission are significant public policy initiatives that promise a major impact on health status of a sizable and vulnerable segment of our society living below poverty line especially in the rural and semi-urban areas, by providing universal and equitable access to basic health services and continuum of care. I'm trying to create a scenario that if you want to do or impact this sector, what are you expected to do? Now, if you see in India, government is the largest provider of healthcare, especially at the primary and secondary care levels. Government is also the largest buyer of health services at the tertiary and quaternary care level. Now, there is a dilemma that whilst 60% of the healthcare infrastructure is in the government sector, almost 80% of healthcare expenditure is made through private sector. Private sector investments in healthcare have been driven by free market economy, and therefore the cost of healthcare is largely influenced by investment cost and demand from economic segment of the society with ability and willingness to pay for such services. Therefore, these services have virtually remained out of reach of a large majority of our population due to cost considerations and inability to pay for such services. A global comparison shows that healthcare spending in India is substantially lower than most developing economies of the world, and our country ranks 171st amongst 177 nations in the world. This is reflected by the following indicators: healthcare spending as a percentage of GDP, public spending as a percentage of total healthcare spending, and public spending as a percentage of total government spending. Can you close this, please? It's very important to understand and imbibe what I'm saying at this moment, because ultimately I'm bringing home some fundamentals as to what do we expect from IT industry. Further, out-of-pocket expenses, out-of-spending at the percentage of total private spending on healthcare is significantly high and imposes a heavy burden on family income, resulting in sizable segment of the population, estimated to be almost 3% of the total population in India, that falls below poverty line as a result of debt on healthcare every year. And only less than 10% of the population employed by the government, public sector undertakings, and large private sector enjoy any form of health insurance cover. Now, this is a slide that shows you the GDP per capita of various countries, developed and developing economies, and India falls in a dwarf at 2,600 PPP dollars in the year 2005 as GDP per capita. If you see the next slide, it gives you a solace that, all right, we are spending almost 5% of the GDP on healthcare, which is almost comparable to other Middle Eastern and developing economies of the world, and is also almost closer to the world average. But 5% of this GDP, as against 15.2% of this GDP, which is 40 times higher in rupee value between India and the United States. So we have a gap. This gap is seen further that only 3% of the public spending on healthcare, only 3% of the total budget of the government is spent on healthcare in India, as against almost 10 to 15% in every developing and developed economy. This is also another slide that this accounts for only 19% of the total healthcare spending, as against 70 to 80% in every other social countries. If you see this slide, you'll find although 8% of the Indian population is covered by any form of voluntary or mandatory insurance, 72% of the expenditure made in this country is out of pocket. Now, this is an issue which relates to the public policy, where we have only 0.7 beds per thousand population as against 3 to 6 in other countries. You must be wondering, what do I mean by all this? Let's see. So in the midst of above scenario and in the wake of political stability in the country, the central and the state governments have taken major initiative to reform the health sector through autonomization of public hospitals, healthcare delivery networks, and district and taluka and village levels. This is in the offing. And you have to be ready with solutions for privatization or autonomization of public hospitals. Promotion of public-private partnerships to attain a laudable objective of universal access to healthcare. These two things are in the offing. But in addition, in this endeavor, the following public policy initiatives are on the anvil to foster this relationship in healthcare, incentivize investment in healthcare, mobilize additional resources for the health sector, enhance technical efficiency of public hospitals, build capacity for formal and continuing education, attain national standards of quality in clinical practice, and most significantly, facilitate adoption of information technology in clinical practice to enhance efficiency, clinical effectiveness, and quality in the delivery of care. All the words that I'm using are out of the documents of the government, which have already been adopted at one level or the other. Now, something very interesting. I'm talking of healthcare as a material good. It's increasingly being recognized as a commodity and health services as an industry, where the consumers and the payers make a deliberate choice between the providers of care on the basis of cost and quality considerations. Okay? Now, healthcare, unlike any other industry, however, tends to behave as a natural price discriminating monopoly based upon the level of technology and skill involved. High technology, high skill leads to a natural monopoly. So you can price discriminate. Whereas we have buyers like the insurance companies, like CGHS, like ECHS, public sector undertakings, and large business houses who have a sizable complement of beneficiaries comprising employees and their dependent family members, and they tend to be price discriminating monopolies. They want to pay you less and they want to charge more. Medicine, on the other hand, with most, if there are any physicians sitting in this, which I know some of them, yes, great physicians sitting here, is a credit good, where the credibility of the provider of care is very often the overriding criteria in making choices between various available options. I go to a doctor, I go by his credits. Adding a third dimension to the manner in which healthcare services are accessed, delivered, or rewarded. Here, the provider of care enjoys a unique status of being the agent of the consumer to recommend what one needs and then acquires the role of a provider of services. This is a very unique example worldwide where health services, especially where there is a third-party payer under voluntary or mandated insurance managed by public or private sectors of the insurance industry, are subject to moral hazards due to change in the behavior of both the patient as well as the provider. Insured recipient who incurs insignificant out-of-pocket cost to access healthcare service tends to get risk-averse before the occurrence of disease and adverse and over-demands healthcare after the occurrence of such event. Likewise, the providers of care who have incentives to over-provide have the opportunity to use clinical judgment and discretion as a means to maximize profit while remaining within the ambit of ethics and clinical protocol. When you say doctor is over-providing, is doing my X-ray 3 times, he would still remain within the ambit of medical ethics and clinical protocol, but there is incentive of over-provision. This phenomenon of over-demand and over-provision is considered moral hazard in healthcare industry. Although there are many measures to mitigate these moral hazards, most of these measures are inefficient and inappropriate and impose heavy administrative costs to the delivery of care. A small co-payment is considered as a disincentive, that you will not ask for service if you have to pay 20% of the cost. But if there is some malpractice and that 20% of the cost is absorbed, then you cannot possibly check. And these moral hazards lead to escalation in cost. While these measures of managed care address financing issues and claims management, they fail to address inefficiencies in provision of care. It has been my endeavor to share the complexities of healthcare industry with challenges in financing, provision and regulation of healthcare, with challenges of achieving universal and equitable access to continuum of care, with the challenges of clinical adoption of information and communication technology, with challenges of medical ethics and credence of providers of care, with the challenges of clinical governance and audit trail, with the challenges of management and operation of business functions with utmost efficiency and economy, with the challenges of seamless integration between management and clinical functions. Since clinical adoption of information technology is the prerequisite to clinical governance, the challenges before the IT industry engaged in healthcare are loud and clear. Can you give me a full-time, full-function clinical desktop which the provider of care are able and willing to access and adopt in their clinical practice? Do you have a solution that is hands-free or operates with a stylus or a mouse with minimum use of keyboard? Can you give me a rules-driven user interface which blends into clinical workflow and gives the providers of care timely alerts in disease management? Can you empower the provider of care with a knowledge base and protocol-driven decision support system to address patient-facing clinical needs? Can you give me my appointments and rounds list on my handheld and give me the option to set my walk path, which clinic I want to go first, which hospital I want to go first? Most significantly, can you give me a virtual and secure access to clinical information about my patients at the point of care? The patient may be at my clinic, patient may be in the hospital. Can you create a national IT backbone that provides high-speed internet connectivity with multiple points of presence? An IT backbone that offers security-enabled, cohesive framework with authentication, data confidentiality, and integrity. An IT backbone that supports connected electronic records using regional health information exchanges and central data repositories for secure access to clinical information at the point of care. Well, if you can, then this is what I want. Are you prepared? Thank you.